So, Mom, what's for dinner today?
We are having fricassee chicken with white rice and salad. So I decided to make this recipe because I was looking at the different influences on Jamaican cuisine, the different countries that influenced it. And so one of them that I'm looking at is French, the French influence on Jamaican cuisine. And I came across this recipe. I made this a very long time ago, like many, many years ago. And I was like, okay, let me try this again. So I took leg quarters as I've always stated. I pre-seasoned my meat. So I took it out. I used leg quarters this time. And how I made it was I got some flour, and the flour is just to help the chicken get color when I'm frying it. So I get some basic flour, and to it I add chicken seasoning, adobo, black pepper, ginger, pimento seasoning, and added that. I dusted the chicken lightly into the flour. I didn't want it to have a thick coating because that's not what it's for. So I dusted it lightly. I made sure that my oil was hot. I used vegetable oil. I use more oil than I normally would because I want it to be brown. The only time I really use a lot of oil is when I'm frying chicken. And this is like, it's not fried, but it's to get it color. So I put it in, let it get some color. I was just thinking, like, what influences are on the food that I eat, and it basically on my culture. My cultural background is Jamaican, and so what are the influences in the food that we eat? And it's so funny because there's a Dutch influence actually as well on Jamaican cuisine. And like for the pot that I'm cooking in this chicken in, it's a Dutch pot that was influenced by the Dutch. They made great pots. And while it's frying and getting color, I cut up my vegetables that I'm going to be putting into it. So I cut up garlic, onions, scallion, peppers, red pepper, tomato, and I cut up a little bit of jalapeno just to cut it up small. And I also have thyme as well. But before I forget, I also put thyme in the batter, not the batter, but in the flour mixture as well. So I do that. So once the chicken gets color, I take it out the pot and I pour off 99.9% of the oil. And then I put the pot back on the stove, and I add the chopped vegetables. I add the onion, garlic, and bell pepper first, and have that sweat down in the pot, because when it's sweating down, it takes all that good bits that's in the bottom of the pan left over from when I was browning the chicken, because it's not burnt, that's flavor. So I sweat that down for a little bit, and then after that I add in my tomatoes, and I sweat that down as well. And to that I add some water. I add a little bit of ketchup just for flavor. And in Jamaican cuisine, a lot of our gravy, or how I grew up, a lot of our gravies tend to have ketchup in it. So I had a little bit of ketchup. I also had a Better Than Bouillon chicken broth season. It's really good. And I just let that boil down a little bit. And so we have Haitian cuisine that influence Jamaican cuisine. You have the Spanish cuisine that influenced Jamaican food, with the Taino people and how we learned how to barbecue, because they were the first indigenous people on the island of Jamaica. We learned how to do our jerk seasoning, because it had Taino influence. We have Chinese influence. We have Indian influences on Jamaican cuisine. There's so much. That's why, out of many, one people. We are a melting pot of different cultures. So my goal is to at least try and make something or understand what I'm making that has influenced my cultural background. I added my chicken, and I put some more thyme. I also put my Scotch bonnet pepper, and on top of that I put mushrooms, chop up the mushrooms and put it in. I try to put vegetables in almost everything that I'm making. And I cover it over and I let it cook. And I had that cook down for about, I want to say 30 to 40 minutes on low, and let it cook down until the gravy got thickened. Because one thing too with when I dusted it, I don't want to say batter because batter is thick. This wasn't a thick batter. This was just a coating of flour. But once you do that, as your meat is cooking or the chicken is cooking, it gets the gravy thickens from the flour that's on it. And so yeah, that's it. And I serve it with white rice, just regular salad and some avocado, and it's quite delicious. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Bless up.